The Marla and Dave radio experience begins in 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're ready, we will begin. Welcome to the Marla and Dave radio show. This is reality radio with a couple that keeps it real. Current events, pop culture, music, relationships, fitness, the hot topics of the day. Marla and Dave Thomas. This is the Marla and Dave radio show. Real radio. Turn up!
I think we should kill the turn up thing.
Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. I don't know what Marla is doing, not setting the right atmosphere, but hey, we're going to have a good time today. Wounded. Marla, hey, how you doing?
I'm wounded, people. I'm hurt. Okay, and I don't mean emotionally, and I don't mean that teary. I mean I'm physically injured. Don't look at me, Aaron Bullock, like that. I'm now going off on. You know how a small dog yaps a lot because they're in pain. This is gonna be one of those.
You
days.
said it. Anyway, so hey, we have a great show for you today.
Everybody.
We're talking about stay-at-home dads.
So, is being a stay-at-home dad a default role that men have taken when there is the significant other, the woman in their life, the mother of baby, maybe the one who has the full-time job and or maybe the greater earner, or is it just a conversation and a necessity, or is it just a choice? That's what we want to get to today. We have no better person to ask all those questions and more to than our friend Aaron Bullock.
A mad family. He's a friend of the family. I'll put it to you that way. He's been in the man cave. He's been on the Marla and Dave show.
He's been to our house. Now you know that's special because
that is pretty good.
If you're a man, you don't get to
we
come
don't roll
to my
like
house.
that.
No, you don't. No. So the madhouse is one thing, but the man house is a whole nother thing to come to our actual house. But anyway, we welcome Aaron back to the Marla and Dave show. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, we're going to leave your mic live because you're family, but this is when we do our, at the top of the show, you're going to have to, behave yourself and fall back a little bit. And the other rule is have a lot of sympathy in your face and in your voice for me in my wounded condition.
Okay, we'll get to that later. There is a doghouse portion of the show. Tony, you know what we forgot last week?
Our mood songs.
We forgot our mood songs.
I want mine right now.
Yeah, let Marla do her own.
Memory, and that's why I want my unborn son to be like my daddy. I want my husband to be like my daddy.
You know what? I've heard that song many times, but I don't think she
wrote
means that anymore.
I don't think she means that.
Yeah.
I think that if she could redo one song, she might redo that one.
Okay, so Tony, hit me.
One final step, one final dance with him. I'd play a song that would never, ever end. 'Cause I'd love, love, love to dance with my father again.
Well, you know what I will say about
that happens to be my mood song, though my dad can't dance, and I can dance with him at any moment.
And you know what
so.
that song is actually about? His father
it's passed on,
dying. So I'm not sure. But
it said dance with my father,
But here's what I will say.
I try to be topical, I'm sorry.
Right. Both of those songs, what I will say is they do highlight the impact that a father has.
Indeed.
On their children and in their family. So that's what I thought, at first, before, Bay realized that, what's his name? I forgot her father's name.
Really? Anyway, so, and also in Matthew Knowles.
Before Matthew had a midlife crisis, Beyonce probably wanted to, model that. Listen, Aaron, it wasn't.
But in
my
this day and
situation.
age, I'm glad that there are songs out there that speak positively of fathers.
Yeah, and that was good.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, times turn, things change. As a matter of fact, Friday, I was perfectly fine and I wasn't wounded, and it changed so quickly that Saturday I'm all jacked up. I'm hurt now, Aaron.
And so guess what? This week, Tech 6 shot a new video. Video that we haven't shot a video in a long time. At least not for something. Marla, get that.
Ow.
Oh my God.
Ow.
Anyway, we shot a video for sailing. When did we do that? Thursday? Yeah, we did that Thursday.
Last week Thursday. For those of you who want to see a snippet, You should go to, I saw it on the real Alvin Chia, his Instagram. It might be on Take 6 Official, the little trailer that says video coming soon.
Search it everywhere.
I like it. It was
that has nothing to do with the actual video.
Okay.
Though.
I'm out.
So just letting you know that. That was the guys on their phones.
No,
that had nothing to do with
the trailer.
That trailer was shot from Christian and his own phone. Christian's phone was on the drone, by the way.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that's the best little snippet that we have.
Exactly. It's pretty good.
And it's a good
and
snippet.
Christian's pretty good at shooting those videos.
Really, if he would have been pissed off had the drone dropped his phone into the...
Hey, Marla, what happened when we were riding bikes this weekend?
Shut the hell up, Dave. Now you want to act concerned because on the paper...
What happened to your arm, boo?
Okay. I'm done.
No, I'm not being facetious. What happened to your arm?
I fell off a bike, but we'll talk about that later. He's not going to make me talk about it. There was a bike. Listen. First of all, I can't. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, this is an actual radio show, so silent.
They can see me. If you guys can see, all of this is just the beginning of the horrible thing called the end of my injuries. You know what's crazy?
It looks like it's feeling pretty good.
Because I'm a very I have a lot of good circulation. It keeps everything in my body fresh, so I don't things aren't stagnant with me.
Did you have like good circulation going to around your ears when I was saying, "Hey, Marla, don't ride on the wrong side of the street"?
First of all, that's not how I felt. Okay, you know what?
I don't know about that.
I can't wait for the
I was
dog
really
out.
asking Marla.
And are you trying to tell me what to do? You who can't see your way around the corner? That's the other thing. When you were trying to tell me,
hey,
where
look
to go,
at my elbow. What? Okay. Need I say next? Anyway.
Okay, so the question is, we have more to talk about with the bike ride blunder, and it was a blunder. And the thing about it is, I was a block away from where I was trying to go. And I was just trying to go off of the street in Marina Del Rey and get onto the curb. And the bike tire, damn that big buffoon tire with those stupid little rental bikes down from Santa Monica, slid alongside the lip of the curb, and I couldn't go up on the curb. I just, and then there was another one bites the dust.
All right, we'll talk about that a little later.
Tony cares. He gave me kisses to the... Kiss my boo-boo.
Okay. Anyway, oh man, I almost went somewhere else with that. That almost threw me off. That almost threw me off.
Anyway, so what's next for you guys? The video, when is the video coming out? I have several questions.
I'll have the first cut this week.
Okay, so that's
We'll
one
see.
question.
It's
Number
not coming out
two,
until it's right.
we know that you guys ended the Fred Hammond Tour Festival of Praise early. And the second question I have is, you've been home too damn long. When are you leaving again? When's Take 6 going back out on tour?
I quit. I quit the group. I'm here forever.
Okay.
Isn't that sweet?
I'll tell you when I look at the bank account in a couple of weeks. I don't think it's sweet at all.
No, as God would have it, I have been needed at home this entire time.
Yeah,
We've been
that's
having
true.
Good bonding time with my son, getting a lot accomplished, as well as DJ's back in the studio, which is a good thing. So, and hopefully things continue to progress there.
So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to that. The DJ update is we have a lot to talk about. DJ was able to go, and to a new doctor today for a treatment. And
A doctor that we know from the UBN family, Dr. Lee.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Had a great
so
time. We were there
we've
for
been-
like 6 hours today.
He was doing they were a little depleted. I think the Dr. Lee should hand out food, but I'll talk to her about that when we're on her show on Wednesday. So Wednesday morning, we're going to be guest on Dr. Lee's show at 11 o'clock a.m. Check the UBN roster and find out what exactly channel she's on, and make sure you tune in for that. Channel 1. So we'll be in studio on this Wednesday at 11 o'clock
a.m.
with Dr. Lee, talking a little bit more about DJ's condition and some of the treatments that are being applied, which we're really trying our best to hope that the homeopathic route works to help DJ deal with his issues, because he doesn't like the side effects of the
Which he
psychedel-
firmly
of the
agreed with
yeah.
DJ today.
Yeah, well, it's 6 on one end and half a dozen on another. The side effects, if the side effects are that you are in such a psychosis that it becomes physically damaging to me, then the other side effects have to be the side effects. If we can't, come on, stop. Anyway, that's what we need to talk about, but that's later. Right now, we're going to talk about stay-at-home dads with our friend Aaron Bullock. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network. Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for Mad News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Before we get to the first story here, I vowed that I would not mention Donald Trump in the news segment on this show anymore,
Yes.
but today is pretty historic. And I still say, as much as I disapprove of this current administration, if he does broker a peace deal with North Korea,
It won't be real.
I would dare say that even I think he would deserve the Nobel Peace Prize.
No.
Because it's unheard of.
No, because
I'm telling you.
no.
That's just me. But again, he is in Singapore with Kim Jong-un, and they are trying to work it out. We shall see. Now on to the first actual news story for the Marla and Dave Mad News segment.
This news story is
hilarious.
Is every person who thinks about a tattoo, this is your worst nightmare.
So a
on
woman in
planet Earth.
Sweden goes and gets her kids' names tattooed on her body. I would assume it's the arm. I don't really know. I think where it doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter to this. But I think it was the arm. Doesn't matter to the story. She goes and her kids' names are Nova and Kevin. She has a daughter named Nova and a son named Kevin. Well, the tattoo artist, I guess, is working away. He gets done with Nova. You know how they kind of rub it out, put a little Vaseline on there. He goes on and starts doing Kevin. By the time she looks up, it's actually Kelvin. He puts a L between the E and the V for Kevin. She's like, oh, man. So she goes home. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. She goes and she looks into what it would take to get the tattoo changed. And she's like, oh, that's a little too expensive for my budget. She says, well, I think I do like Kelvin. Next thing you know, because of a botched tattoo, she changed her son's name from Kevin to Kelvin.
Mother.
And
She's
you know, I hope his dad wasn't named Kevin. That would be hilarious. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. This next story is funny as well. As much as cops are getting in trouble these days for shooting black people, this guy's at a party dancing. He's an off-duty cop. He's actually just doing his thing. And he goes to show off, does a complete backflip. His gun flies out of his holster, whatever. Not a snap down, which is another no-no. The gun hits the ground. The minute he goes to pick it up, his finger touches the trigger. Pow! He shoots a guy across the party. And the guy's sitting there thinking, man, I heard a firecracker. He was like, man, some stupid person is lighting firecrackers in the middle of a party, looks down and notices that his leg is bleeding.
Right.
The bullet went straight through his leg. A cop shoots yet another person in this day and age. Go figure. This next story is pretty sad. Marla?
Oh, this is one of the things that has impacted us. I don't even need to look at my Marla and Dave notes. The suicide of Anthony Bourdain, which was
dead at 61.
Yeah, he hung
It's a
himself,
tragedy.
and it was a chaser to the horrific news that Kate Spade had done the exact same thing 4 days prior. And so, we were sitting here talking in the studio. I've been shaking this horn and on this bullhorn about mental health because of what our family's been going through, almost to no avail. And now all of a sudden, which I don't really care what brings attention to it, but now we see that it doesn't discriminate when it comes to money, age, race. Mental health issues are mental health issues, and too many people have them. Suicides have doubled in the last 5 years. Just the census report is like they're up 25%.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And I don't know what it's going to take for this country to actually get ourselves together, literally, when it comes to the mental health issue. And we need to remove the stigma. We need to meet people where they are, and we need to actually be there for them in their times of need.
Hey, Dave,
Enough said on that.
before we go to the break, though, I think that this is going to be very interesting. Hopefully, Jerome sticks around in the madhouse to actually respond to this, but he says anybody who's a stay-at-home dad, they're not men.
Oh, please.
Men work, period.
Jerome, make sure you call in. The number's 323-524-2599. This has been the Mad News. Back to the show.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
You know, I just realized for the past 3 weeks, I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
And even though I go on the road from time to time, when I'm at
really
home,
even trying
I
to put
am the
yourself-
father, the primary parent of our
Are you
children.
really trying to put yourself in the category of a stay-at-home dad when you're not home? You're like not even in the country half the time. Really?
Yeah, I'm just out of
Okay.
town dad at that time.
We want to welcome.
At that time, I'm out of town dad.
We want to welcome actual stay-at-home dad, Aaron Bullock, who is our guest here in the Madhouse. Aaron, welcome again to the Marla and Dave Show.
Hey, y'all.
First of all, I want to also remind everybody, like David, this is a show. All of our shows are interactive, so call in 323-524-2599. That's your way to join our conversation. You can call for whatever reason you want. Say hey, have a comment, a question. It's all good, and welcome to everybody on every platform. Periscope, UBN Radio TV, Facebook. You're on the Marla and Dave show page. You're also on the Marla and Dave personal page. Do we have anything for? We've got the chat room for UBN, but we're on Instagram live.
They don't have that yet.
They don't have that yet. Well, then
They
get the
will,
hell out of
sure.
here, then Instagram. In the meantime, welcome everybody. Everybody's saying hi. Liz, what's up? Tammy, Jerome made a statement, but let me introduce Aaron
Hey.
as it relates to this topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we really got to know you, you and your wife, who is also named Aaron, were probably in your second trimester of no.
Is that true?
Aaron was in his second
maybe-
trimester? It's like taking it to the next
Aaron.
level. Oh, okay, yeah.
They
Okay,
Is
so
that, is that true?
I think
I almost don't think so.
Feels
maybe her
like-
first.
Yeah, I feel like
Early
maybe
on.
early. Yeah.
Okay. Well, his wife was just pregnant, and when we that's true. It was at the very beginning, and as we got to know Aaron, we started. Aaron he was cracking me up. By the way, now it's to your face. We talked about you behind your back, so we'll just do it here on the show.
Yep.
And we were.
Remind me.
I'll remind you. And Aaron he was so excited
Yeah.
about being a dad. He was like, it's just going to be me and the baby. I'm taking the baby everywhere I go. Me and the baby. He and the baby, the baby, the baby, the baby. So Aaron spoke this into fruition because now Aaron is a stay-at-home dad to their beautiful.
I actually was a little disappointed. I thought Jackson was coming to the show today, personally.
I started to bring her.
You should have done it, man.
I wasn't sure how she would dig, just sitting for an hour.
Well,
So.
you know,
that
Jackson's
might
a
be-
star.
She is a star.
She's a star.
She's a star.
So, stay-at-home dad.
Yep.
We threw the question out there just because of is being a stay-at-home dad an actual default role for men, or is it just a choice? Is it just
I don't know what that means.
that means that traditionally, forever, at least society, people view that when mom and dad have a baby, that it's mom who stays at home and it's dad who goes out and works a 9-to-5, so to say, job.
Right.
Or David and I would be in the traditional paradigm
Right.
for untraditional employment.
I mean, for me, this is by design. I have always known since I was a child that number one, I wanted to be a dad. And number two, I wanted to be the primary caregiver for my children. Absolutely. And I've never had a traditional 9-to-5 job. And maybe that's part of the plan as well, because I wanted to be able to be home.
You think subconsciously maybe you were
Maybe so.
not choosing traditional jobs and employment just so that you can fulfill your ultimate goal.
Maybe. I mean, my personality has always been entrepreneurial anyway. But I absolutely knew that I wanted to wait to have kids, which I did. 50 this year, right? And one of the reasons I wanted to make sure that I had all of the things from character to stability to all these things, so that I could be home and first teacher, right? Primary caregiver. I mean, listen, to be clear, so she's home with me Monday through Thursday, and then Aaron works from home on Friday, and obviously, Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Right. And Aaron is also, when she gets home from work in the evening, I tag out, and she handles
Tags
the rest
in.
of it. Right.
Yeah.
100%. But this is absolutely by design. So I don't know, by default for me, it is the default position for me.
Well, I was asking Marla earlier, what does she mean? Because I need her to clarify that a little bit. Because the default, that sounds like you're implying a negative connotation. But to me, if the man has the less traditional job, and the woman has a more traditional 9-to-5 kind of job thing, does that default mean a bad thing, or that just seems to be how it works
first of all,
out?
again, like I said in the car, for me, no negative connotation. Matter of fact, it's probably one of the best truths about equality that I think should exist, for the record. I think that it's not. So for me, it's not that. It's just a paradigm, and it's how people view. Like, in other words, everybody has an expectation that this is what women do and this is what men do. And so, again, you've got Jerome on here who says, please, all men need to be at work.
First to Jerome.
Jerome, call in, buddy.
First to Jerome. Parenting is a job.
Right.
That's number one. So I want to be very, very clear for all those moms who have historically in Western culture been stay-at-home moms. That's an insult to them. It's a job. It's a big, huge.
It might be the most important. Matter of fact, not might. It is the most important job of all.
100%.
But it is absolutely
a lot of hard work.
It's not credit. The credit there. Come on now. I've been in those shoes for a long time. It's dismissed.
It is dismissed a lot. But and also to Jerome.
And Jerome, you look right there and talk right to Jerome.
Yeah, like you can come up here, we can talk about it. But
I don't think I would do that if I were you, Jerome. I know this
probably
man.
Be a bad idea, but I work as a parent, having to be a stay-at-home parent. But I also run several businesses from home whilst raising my daughter. So,
and he did say, Jerome says now, but he works from home, right? But what if you did? What if?
Well, Jerome, here's my question
What
to
if
the
though,
Jeromes
Jerome,
of the
right?
world.
Yeah,
Not that we're picking on Jerome, but all the Jeromes.
I kind of want to pick on Jerome.
All the Jeromes. So here's what I'm saying. What is Jerome saying about mothers who stay at home with their children?
And that's what I'm saying. What is the defining thing here? Your genitalia? Is it? And that's what I was saying in the car. What I'm saying is, two people made that beautiful little baby.
And are still making that
Aaron
baby.
and
We're still developing that child.
I thought you like
No.
you're still like
They're creating an adult.
right.
Yeah, now
I'm
they're
like,
past
right,
getting an infant.
right,
Now they're creating an adult.
Right. But the point that I'm making is mom and dad.
Yeah.
So Aaron and Aaron, which his wife's name is Aaron, but you've got two people, and so everybody in the village committing to do what's best for the village to raise the baby. I'm saying that it is through the years, even for women. My kids at career day, DJ used to say, I need to talk to dad. I need dad to come to school for career day. And I was like, well, D, I can come up there. And he said, no, for what? You're just a house mom.
Yeah.
And that was like junior high.
And to me, and again, you took offense to that, and because you keep bringing it up like years,
my God.
at least once a decade, it comes up. The reason why I say that, to me, when a child can literally take for granted that level of parenting, it's accolade to the parent themselves, because everything in my life is perfect.
Because you're not home bleeding this. You see this? Blood.
It's like when your children don't question. Your children actually say, what's for dinner tonight? They don't say, are we eating? They say, what is for dinner? They take for granted that dinner will be on the table.
Can we get back to the elephant in the room, and can I just ask Aaron this? Aaron, do you honestly, what would be some of the impressions or conversations amongst men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a man. So in the man club,
Yes.
how is being a primary caregiver, at home parent to your daughter spoken about in man circle?
To me?
Period. Around you. Just well, yeah. Well, yeah,
What do they say to your face?
If you see what I'm going to do to Jerome, then you.
Right.
But just you're a very plugged in guy. You really are. So I know that this is not. No matter what anybody's opinions are, you really could give a rat's ass.
I mean, I don't know any Jerome, so
right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
just in general, like
that's what I'm saying. Like I would say first of all, we're an older friend group, right? Like we're a group of friends. A lot of us who have decided to have children later in life and later in our relationships. We tend to be a bit more mature, a bit more settled in our lives. I don't know any person who would say something as asinine as, a stay-at-home dad is
it
not
should
a
be
man.
your wife, not you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Did you discuss that? Did you and Aaron sit down and did you say, "Here's what we're going to do"? Was
I'm going to guess that I told Aaron that's what we were going to do. And Aaron works. Like, Aaron has a 9-to-5.
right?
Like that was her. I almost got myself in trouble. I started to say that was her choice, but that's what she does. You know what I mean? Like,
Why would that be a problem?
because Aaron would rather be home being an artist. Like she'd rather be at home being an artist. But her choices have led her into corporate America.
Right.
So
okay.
So what we did have to talk about was, I literally run several different enterprises.
Right.
Right. And I'm busy. And so Erin came to me and she works for an entertainment company, and we had to put the child on the list before the child was born for daycare. Right. And it's a fairly large expense, and we talked about it, and we were just going to do it. Or she was thinking she might do it, and she was trying to be conscientious of the fact that I have a very busy schedule. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, we're going to keep her at home with me, and I'm going to father her.
Well, before we actually get to some of the details of daily life,
Yes.
So when you say that you run several enterprises, and I know that you do, mm-hmm. How do you balance that? Does something get sacrificed at all in that equation?
Absolutely. But the thing is child is priority. That young lady is my absolute priority, Jerome. So here's an instance. Erin gets up, she'll wake up in the morning, and she both pumps and feeds, right? Like she'll wake the baby up and one breast gets the baby, one breast gets a pump. Then she'll get up and she'll change her and she'll dress her, she'll wash her face, right? And then she gives her back to me. Mm-hmm. At which point I give her a bottle and I put her back to sleep. 9 times out of 10 on my chest, right? And so that happened this morning at like 8:30, 8:15, mm-hmm. and the baby sleeps for 2 hours, right? My phone will be ringing, and I will not answer it. And if anybody has a problem with the fact that I can't get to them until the baby's done sleeping, too bad.
Right, just not an account for you.
And the truth of the matter is, hasn't affected business at all. You know,
Right.
people call, and I'll say, listen, baby was asleep. What's going on? How can I help you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So baby's priority. So some things have been sacrificed, really shifted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm very open about the conversation. And if I have a meeting that I have to go to, and the baby has to come, baby comes. Baby comes.
Now, has that been a problem with any meeting that the baby comes to the meeting?
First of all, she's great.
Does she have her own cigar?
Dave, we're not supposed to talk about that. She has her own glass of bourbon and her own cigar.
Hilarious.
Yes, you know the kind of meetings we have.
Reginald says
man.
a stay-at-home father in 2014 is worth $71.5 thousand. So that was an earlier statement, and for me, I feel like that's the one issue that I have, which I think has kind of torn up the fiber of family, is that even for myself, I'm guilty of of clamoring to make my mark by the amount of money earned, because it's the only thing that's respected. What I can barter to trade for goods and services, I can't, trade myself or my hours. And it is definitely and not that David has ever not appreciated, but my presence in the world, which with what I feel like I'm supposed to bring to the table, to me was totally just glassed over because I was a mom. So now there's become more and more, like I said, there's 1.4 million men at this point, which it's in the last 10 years, it's doubled.
So that statement raises a bunch of questions for me. Is he saying that because the father is staying at home as a parent, that the household is losing $71,000?
No, that's your worth.
Providing a service that is worth $71,000.
Your service is valued at $71,000.
Is that the same for the mom and the dad?
And that's what I'm saying.
What is the mom worth?
And he said, and I said, "Where's my check?" And he goes, "No, there's no money being exchanged. It's just a value." So yeah.
is that dad staying at home, or is that just parents staying at home?
That's dad, because we're talking about dad, but it might be. Let me scroll up. It's probably either.
So now let me ask you this, Aaron. Have you heard anybody?
Mimi says she tried to call. There are people trying to call that can't get through.
Yeah, I saw something on here as well.
Somebody said,
so
I'm a witness.
In the meantime, Aaron, I'm sure you're familiar with the stereotype that Jerome is talking about. Do you think because we live in a more liberal place like California, like Los Angeles specifically, that you're just not going to come across the Jeromes on a personal encounter?
Are there more simple-minded people
versus like in the Midwest? Would that seem to be more of an issue?
I mean, not for me, it wouldn't be an issue, but could I run into more people with that
perspective?
Really asinine perspective? Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Now that we're talking about you, Jerome, but we're using you as an example.
No, I'm
Jerome.
talking about you, Jerome.
So I have a question. Do you have an issue with the term house husband?
No.
So if somebody called you a house husband, you'd be like, great.
Sure.
So,
whatever. Call me a giraffe. I don't care.
So you don't have an issue with any of the stereotypes or any of the judgments or
which judgments? Tell me.
I'm just saying whatever may exist. Like that. Like we're talking to Jerome. That would be his opening statement was a statement of judgment. Faux show.
Listen, no, absolutely, and honestly, I feel like one of my jobs, is to raise a child who can be so self-secure that, like, she won't even see Jerome.
Jerome who?
All right, we're talking with our friend Aaron, the stay-at-home dad of the week, the month, the year, and we will continue the conversation when we come back.
We got to show up.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from two unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship experience.
Excuse me, that's 58 years? Oops, I made a boo-boo.
It's time for Ask Marla and Dave. Answers to your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real-life experience. It's about to get real. Ask Marla and Dave.
All right, it's time for the Ask Marla and Dave segment. As you have heard, if you don't ask, we can't tell. It's when you have actually gone to our website, marlandave.com, clicked on the Ask Marla and Dave tab, and you have submitted your question there, and we're dealing with it right here on the show right now. The question for today is, Marla and Dave, please help. My daughter is nearing her 19th birthday. She is hell on wheels. Her defiance is and disrespect has reached an all-time high. My wife and I are at our wits' end, and the only option we seem to have left is to put her out of the house on the street on her actual ass. Okay. Not sure what her root issues are, which is the only thing that brings me a little pause. The truth is, regardless of her issues, she is unwilling to be agreeable to get professional help or abide by our rules. You two seem to have been through rough waters with your kids and still managed to stay afloat. Looking for some insight that may be helpful. Signed, Wits End. Marla, can you help Wits End?
I definitely can. You know, that if I had to be honest with you, understanding nobody knows your child better than you do, and it took us a minute to understand that there were some deeper behavioral issues that were driving
One of the challenges that we were dealing with.
Challenges that were driving some of the rebellions that we went through. And I think that even in Monisa's case, the worst thing that I could have done was to put her out knowing that she needed a little bit more care and understanding of what she was actually dealing with. But I had no way of knowing, so I just acted as a regular parent. So my advice would be find out. Like the fact that this is such a struggle, the one message I would say is a child who is over 18 who continues to do things to harm themselves, meaning, they seem completely oblivious to consequences that keep rolling back on them, punching themselves in the head. They're usually, in a lot of cases, there's something else there other than just plain rebellion, so you should find out.
And before we run out of time, I will say usually when I hear a parent that is in turmoil, the way that you've described wit's end is because you're not really sure of where you stand. When you know what your limitations are, what you are capable of dealing with, versus just constantly making bottom lines that constantly move to a new bottom line that's going to become just a wheel of stress. Know yourself, and if it's time to put them out, if they cross that line, you got to put them out. If you're not going to put them out, I would strongly suggest not making a bottom line and make idle threats.
Don't threaten.
Because then you have no respect coming from, and what it almost sounds like what you're kind of describing. So I would say take some time, spend some time with yourself, and learn where your parameters are, and stick with them.
If their other parent is involved, get on the same page.
Exactly. Anyway, we hope that's helped you in any way. Wits End. Remember, www.marlandave.com. Ask Marla and Dave. We're here because if you don't ask, we can't tell. Back to the show.
Intelligent, fun, and super real. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
Okay, so the number to call in is 323-524-2599. For those of you who are trying to call and saying you can't get through, then call us again. In the meantime, so Aaron, you're not alone in these decisions that for the betterment of taking care of your daughter.
Yes.
I want to talk about the fun stuff. There's Mommy and Me, and there's all kinds of things when I was a stay-at-home parent.
Or is it like the movie, like with the Chris Rock with
right,
dads?
the dads. I want to know, are there any kind of like cool peer groups that you belong to?
No, but yes, technically yes, because I have a bunch of friends who are stay-at-home dads, right? Or who at the very least, from moment to moment, will find themselves at home with their kids.
Give me just a round number. How many do you think that is?
My friend group, I
mean, with kids that are
5 or 6,
would consider themselves stay-at-home dads.
5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you have to also remember this too. We, in all fairness, we all live in Los Angeles, and what I mean by that is, we are an entertainment or an entrepreneurial society in general in this city.
And friend group as well.
Because even, for example, I mean, you can look at this room. Even though I'm, making money. At this point, even being a realtor, I'm on my own time. So therefore, if I had to be home, which I'm still home often, I'm still able to do that as well as do real estate.
So you're admitting that I could kind of be described as a stay-at-home dad.
Okay. I got a description for you, but I'm going to have to give it to you off air.
Jeez.
Because
I just can't get no love.
Aaron, look at my arm. I have the boo-boo.
Dave should have done that to you.
Don't feed the bears.
So talk to me about that. Like the cool, I want to hear the pros in your experience so far, because your daughter will be one.
They're all pros. She started crawling 2 days ago. That being able to be there for that.
Right.
Being able to be there for that is awesome. She went from poop to doo-doo.
The adult stuff.
Today.
The adult stuff.
It's transitional. So the adult stuff is technically dookie.
Yeah, okay. So she's at doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
And then dookie.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So she's eating food.
She is. So this child is 9 months old. She is over 23 pounds. She's 23 pounds, 5 ounces, 5.5 ounces.
Right.
And she is 31 inches long. That's ginormous. She's in the 97th percentile.
Right.
And it's all breast milk. We've been trying to get her to get to the place where she's on food, because Aaron is like, okay, you got 3 more months, buddy.
That's a wrap.
And she has teeth. So, and I've seen
Yowza.
The first time Aaron screamed, she screamed and she looked at the baby. She looked at Jackson. She said, "No." And it scared us both. Me and Jackson were like, "What is wrong with the crazy
Who's this?
Right? And then one day I was feeding Jackson something, trying to get her to eat something. I put my finger in her mouth and she bit my finger. And I was like, got it. You're done in 3 months because you get more teeth. She's gonna sell you.
Or you might just have to pump. You can't actually get the actual connection.
No. You have to teach them. I mean, they learn to not bite.
Yeah. So, but I don't even know what my point was. But.
But you were saying you were explaining the good times.
Yeah, we were talking about the pros, and you were saying
I mean,
that she's not. You're watching all these transitions and these things happen with the baby, and you couldn't miss that for anything.
She's she's hugging.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? Like,
just on her own, just coming up to get a hug.
Dude, like nap time, where she just wants to. I can lay her down on the bed. She'll go to sleep for a little while, and she'll wake up. And I know that means I got to pick her up, put her on my chest, and she wraps her arms around me. She goes to sleep.
So that brings another question to my mind. Does your wife actually express any jealousy in the fact that you get to stay home and you've seen the first up on the hands and knees mobility?
If she had crawled with Aaron at work, it would have challenged our relationship.
Wow.
But she did it when Aaron was at home. Thank
At
God.
least that's what we're saying.
You were there. First time. Jackson acts like this is your first time ever across the floor.
We have a rule: don't tell mom. But yeah, so she's not talking yet, but she says Dada a lot. So Aaron spends
moms
a lot of
don't know
time-
that Dada's a lot easier
Listen,
anyway.
My song is Daddy's great. Give us the chocolate cake. And
Okay.
Jason
Nice.
says,
So you're making
Aaron
up.
says-
You're even connecting Daddy with chocolate cake.
yeah,
So
100%.
Okay.
All things good. But Aaron
I
will
like
say,
it.
Mommy's great too, because Mommy carried you for 9 months. And I said, well, Daddy was nice enough to put the batter in the oven. So Daddy's still giving
once you
chocolate
get
cake.
past Daddy's great, it becomes more difficult to say anyway.
Tony, what are we gonna do with him?
So
what are we
man,
gonna
man, I can't imagine. So to me, and that's where the real questions really start to come up, because we've heard maternal instinct as a phrase.
And that's where I'm glad you're transitioning into that, because this is what I want. I want to talk about this as well, because I want Aaron and you, for that matter, to address that very thing. Learning as a paternal instinct in comparison to the maternal instinct. Because everybody thinks just because a woman delivers a baby that the baby comes out and women just know how to be good parents. It's not true.
Definitely not true. I'm not saying that about Aaron, but I definitely.
It's not true.
But I do think that there is such a thing as maternal instinct, and I think
And there's a
that
paternal
initially actually shows up faster than a father's instincts.
Well,
and the
no,
reason
that's
why
true.
I say that is
No,
because
well, I can get with that.
no
because
matter
you
what
have the
anybody
babies in
says,
you.
the baby is part of the mother for
Right.
9 months, literally as another organ. It's the actual growing, developed thing in your body.
Sure.
And so we don't get to experience that. And I think part of what allows us to have a different kind of bond that is equally as strong and sometimes maybe even lasts a little bit longer and is challenged a little bit less, because we have to get to know the child as an individual.
We have to get to know the child.
We have to get to know the child,
We have to be able
period.
to bond with the child. But it was said to me, like I have lots of friends, obviously, who have kids, who have had children, long ago. And many of them said, it's going to take some time for you to get bonded with this child. Like, it's going to take you, it might take 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
It was instantaneous for me.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it would have been more difficult if you had tried to make the transition, if both you and Aaron
Both were home.
I should say girl Aaron because we say Aaron, but either way. But you and your wife both had traditional 9-to-5s, and one of you had to decide, okay, I'm letting this go to be at home with Jackson.
Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But I honestly think, look, I tend to think that a lot of things in our society is education, right? Like it's more cultural than it is genetic, right? And I think that we tend to teach men a lot of wrong stuff.
So now when you say, are you talking about African American? Are you talking about American in general?
I mean men.
Okay.
we can speak about all the classes that I'm a part of, right? So African American, American, Southern, right? Like all those things. But we see it across the board. Like you'll hear black guys talk about it and white guys, guys, right? Like there's this machismo about being man and what it means to be a dad. And if you are a stay-at-home dad, you better, you're what was he? What did he say? Some nonsense.
Yeah,
anyway,
you're not a man.
Right. But I think we're taught those things, and if we are able to shed the nonsense, then fathers, men, can be as effective and are as effective parents, paternal, and have paternal instincts that are as effective as maternal instincts. And
Penguins do it.
Lots of animals do it.
Penguins take that little egg and they stuff it up in their muff,
Right.
and they sit on it. Why are you looking like that,
And
David?
they protect it.
And first of all,
Because the penguin might have a muff. That might be the first issue. The first clue.
Now you're making Jerome's point.
well, and the point is that even with that, is there a difference that in your mind? Was there a difference between wanting or desiring a boy and or a girl? Because I know a lot of men, speaking of stigmas and stereotypes, a lot of men are into this. My son, Dave, was one of those people.
Somebody asked me just yesterday if I was going to also have a son, and I said, why? She said, well, somebody to carry on your name. Nonsense. Somebody to carry on your line. Not this child has all my gene material. She'll carry it on just fine. No, I karmically.
And of course, she's going
was
to
gonna
get
be
her
a
husband
daughter.
to change her name. And she's going to get her husband to change the name to my name anyway, so we're all good.
Right. Right.
You hear that, fool? Anyway, so
Oh my God, that would be a travesty.
Yeah. No.
Michael Thomas.
oh yeah, we can't have that. Anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah. Karmically, I always kind of felt like it was going to be a girl, just because. Man, it was
All
awful.
things wrong are now going to have to be made right. Are you really preparing yourself?
Yeah.
And you got a really good one too.
Yeah, she's
She's
awesome.
Yeah, she is. She really is.
She's awesome.
We're gonna show up. Tony's gonna pull up a picture. There, so you can see little Miss Jackson as she strapped her father's
Weaponry
chest.
polished as we speak.
Listen, new weaponry being shipped out
From the four corners of the world.
Amazon Prime.
So let me. Here's another question that just kind of
Can you hold
swirls
that
around
thought?
the
We
subject.
have actual phone
Oh
call.
yeah, go ahead.
Caller on the Marla and Dave show with Marla, Dave, and Aaron. What's your name and where you calling from? Caller.
Hey,
Hello.
hey,
Hello.
what's up? Who's this? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Reginald.
Hey,
From
Reginald.
Maryland.
Hey, Reginald, what's
how
Hi,
are
up?
you?
Marla. How are you guys?
We're good.
Doing pretty good.
Good.
I'm hurt in case you cared, because nobody in this room sends to care. It's okay.
Anyway, Reginald, it's good to hear your voice. What's your comment or question for today?
Well, first it starts with a comment. Aaron, proud of you, brother. I know what you speak, and at the same time, with everything going on with the absence of fathers in general, playing a part in someone's life, that is good to see someone's doing it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate hearing that.
So, Reginald, right quick, are you saying that you too are a stay-at-home dad?
I have been for 5 years.
Okay. So, how would you describe the difference between? So then, I'm assuming, and I shouldn't do that. So let me ask.
Careful.
So you had a traditional 9 to 5 before the 5-year stint of stay-at-home dad?
I did. I especially started a company, and I still do that. So
Okay.
I guess it's kind of unfair, but with the entrepreneurial spirit that you mentioned,
Oh yeah.
I, for the most part, have the flexibility to do just that.
Awesome.
And I pretty much like Aaron said, made this plan even before I met my wife.
Okay, so now how would you describe the difference between the enjoyment and the fulfillment that you get from being a stay-at-home dad versus the dad that's actually in the workplace on a more traditional 9 to 5?
how would I describe the fulfillment?
Is there a difference in fulfillment?
Well, there is in a couple of ways. The first thing is just that, for me personally, my children are first. And there's no greater joy, regardless of anything I've ever done. And so knowing that and wanting to be a great father, I've essentially positioned myself to be able to do just that, as I mentioned before I even had a child.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's a conversation that I'm glad we're actually having this exchange, because I think it's long necessary and needed, because there's an anchor that's missing. And to see dads, which Dave, I've always said, even if I walked out the door tomorrow, you would always have the highest respect for me. Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't get far, but yeah.
That clearly.
But go ahead with your accolade.
Yeah, okay. Reggie, can you help me, please, buddy?
Reggie, hey, man, thank you for calling the show, man. And kudos to you.
He's lassoing me now. This is not right.
Along with Aaron and the other stay-at-home dads that are holding it down, man. And happy Father's Day, by the way.
Happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you. Can I just say one last point?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, great. I think that the world has changed. Obviously, traditional roles have changed. The need to be a two-income earning family has become the case. I don't expect, and I understand many who may not be in a position as I or my family is, to be able to be well, we still have two incomes, but be able to have someone work or be at home. But when we decided to put our children first as a priority, we were able to make that decision because we knew that in the long run, they would do better educationally, morally, as far as our values and influences. And so I understand that, not everyone can do that, but if you're blessed and you can do it and you're not chasing the dollar, then by all means, the reward non-monetarily far outweighs, the latter.
Well, right quick before we let you go, Reggie, was there a pushback from your wife as to who would get the okay to be the parent that stayed home?
It wasn't so much. Well, yes. Okay, let me say it this way. There was an initial pushback, but when you start talking about the attributes that it requires or takes in raising a child, patience, involvement. She has a very demanding job, so in and of itself, I do the gamut.
You were more
Granted,
suited.
It's not just
Smart.
Sorry, Marla.
No, I said you were more suited for that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And so when we looked at the family dynamics, we knew that, hey, I'm probably going to be better suited. And as much as you talk about Aaron, or I think y'all were questioning Aaron about how he's perceived, my wife can clearly have told you how it's perceived when she's not doing what other women would have deemed the motherly job.
That's interesting.
That's a great perspective.
So it's kind of, when they look at her and go, oh, aren't you taking them to school? Or how are you there to do the cooking? Or how are you, those type of things. Was she feeling less than a mother a little bit?
Wow. Well, Reggie, thanks for calling the show, man. We're going to have to dig into that a little bit later after this next break.
Not today's show.
No, we're going to talk about it.
In a few minutes. That's a great point. Thanks for calling, buddy. Wow, that was an awesome point. I didn't even think of it from that perspective.
That's what I'm saying. Stereotypes are that way all the way around the block, which is why I asked the question the way that I did from the jump.
This is the Marla and Dave Show. We're talking about stay-at-home dads. We'll be right back.
It's time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. You decide who gets a biscuit and who gets busted and ends up in the doghouse.
All
right.
So
the reason that you're going into the doghouse is
let me
very
explain.
simple.
You
Nope.
guys already know what the doghouse is about. It's when Marla actually opens her mouth and then her foot goes in. And next thing you know, Marla's in trouble. It's called the doghouse. Anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah. The reason that Dave's going in the doghouse is because we all know now that I did fall off of my own bike. I was not pushed or assaulted in any way. However, when I fell off the bike, Dave pulls up probably 45 seconds after me as I'm splayed out on the driveway at the Marriott Hotel in Marina Del Rey. And a lady runs up and she's like, oh my God. And so Dave is like, David is talking to me as if this was some type of self-sabotage, like I was just doing a stunt woman trick.
As if.
He says...
That's exactly what it was.
You see? And instead of saying, oh, honey, he was trying to problem solve why I fell and how ridiculous it was that I was laying there. And that's why the first thing he should do is scoop up his little wife and then ask questions later as I was obviously bleeding.
Aaron, did you see that she dropped? Is that a little violin that she just felt? Yeah, could you pick that up for a place? Yeah. So here's the thing.
Off the ground.
Number one, I told Marla at the beginning of the bike ride, put your phone away. That's the first thing I said.
That's what was making me mad. It wasn't the phone.
And she's constantly arguing with me, telling me to be quiet. Meanwhile, DJ is 10 miles up this way.
He wasn't
Marla's
10
5 miles back this way. I'm in the middle
and he
trying
told me to take the lead.
And I said, Marla, I'll bring up the rear. You go up there, catch DJ. You take the lead. You're the only one who knows where we're going. So Marla did take
Another
the
pet
lead.
peeve.
And then, because you never told us where we were going, by the way. And none of us had been to Foo's boat, by the way. So as a pet peeve, it's my pet peeve. So now let's get down to the real issue.
Why
when
didn't
I
you pick me up?
arrived,
And why
when I
didn't you-
arrived on the scene, what I did when I saw DJ helping you and the lady ran up, there was a car coming out of the hotel driveway that I
you
had to
stopped me
actually
from getting run over.
take my bike and put between Marla, who refused to get off the ground,
I was hurt.
and a coming car.
I had
So-
to assess my injuries,
So
Aaron.
in the meantime, you're welcome. In after
I
that,
don't
you are
even-
also
no one
chastised
runs
for not.
over-
I told Marla, I said, Marla, how many times did I tell you that day before you fell? Cyclists actually follow the rules
I
of
know.
traffic like a car, not the sidewalk like a pedestrian.
My only assertion was that
Had you
didn't,
actually
I
been,
don't even want to
had
hear all the rest
Marla
of this.
been on the
How
right
come you
side of
didn't
the
scoop me
road,
up?
she would not have needed to be in the street trying to jump a curb to get on a sidewalk to begin with, to get out of the way of oncoming traffic. As she was supposed to be turning right
Before you vote in the
into where we were
doghouse.
going to the restaurant, Marla actually had to then jump on the sidewalk just to go turn right
That's all I can
across
do now.
traffic.
Me too.
So at the end of the day, Marla goes in the doghouse for even the audacity of raising a doghouse issue that she's completely at fault.
First of all,
Act like this is a mic. Thank you. Act like this is a mic.
at the end of the day, my dad wasn't a stay-at-home dad. Tony, on with the show.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad.
Shut up!
You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
I was abandoned by my dad. That's why I fell off the bike and Dave
Oh
didn't
my
help me.
Lord! And your dad was actually kind of like a stay-at-home dad for 2 months
he
of the year as
wasn't.
well. That's
First
how
of
he
all,
got
we're
to
not even
dookie
gonna
on your
get in-
face.
Okay.
What?
Not only was my dad not a stay-at-home dad, but what David is actually saying is accurate, and that really did happen. And my dad was home for 4 months, and he was cruel. My dad practical joked me and dookied on a rag and hung it up, knowing we would use it, and I wiped my face with it, and I ran to the car. It's a whole big stupid story.
And it wasn't until after we were
That
married,
explains
Aaron.
so much.
It wasn't
This
until
child is scarred.
It
I
wasn't
am
until
scarred.
after we were married
Literally.
that Marla said, she told me the story, and I remember the day that she came to school. She was already running kind of late. She ran. Her hair was usually done nice because, that's what her mom takes to the hairdresser. Her hair was a mess. It was just blown dry, just straight out. She ran from the car into the bathroom.
Always adding on stuff. I never went to school with my hair looking crazy like that.
You did this day. Trust
Okay.
me. And so she was in the bathroom, and she was in there a long time. The bell rang. She didn't come to class. And
I
it
was
wasn't
scrubbing my
until
face
like
with
a
paper
half an
towels.
hour
My
later
face was scraped
till
up.
she shows up in a red and
Wow.
just
My
face
my
kind of. And it
skin
wasn't
was-
until
Tried to
well
scrape
into the
poop off your
marriage
face.
that I heard the story and I said,
Got it.
there you go.
So I need to say something. So this last caller,
Yeah.
Reggie.
Reggie made me think about something. So
He brought up a really good point.
Aaron's father was not in the house, right? So she was raised by her mom alone, and my father was an absentee dad, right? So largely, when I was with my mom, it was just me and my mom. When I was with him, he was not around. So, I think that's one of the reasons it's very important for both Aaron and I.
Now, but right quick, was that by choice or just by because he had to go to work?
I mean, he was busy and he was an asshole, but those things in combination. But I think that's why it's very important for Aaron and I both to make sure that Jackson has a really strong connection to her dad, father figure in her life, right? Like that we can correct some of those things from our own
I have a
past.
good question about that for you.
Yeah.
Because you were not raised with your father in that role as a connected dad, do you struggle with how to even get to that
How to
type of
do your
father?
job well.
Yes.
So interestingly enough, whatever I have to say about my dad, like I have some challenges with him as a person, as a dad. But I actually, when he was in the role of father, he was not bad at it, terribly bad. You know, with one of my brothers, he was awful at it. But with me, he was very affectionate with his kids. He was very affectionate with his wife. You know what I mean? He's smart. You know what I mean? So there were some things that I could glean from it, but also my mom did a great job of making sure that I had male role models that I could look to, men, to see them. So that drives me to say this. Dave, Moniz posted something on Instagram. It was either Instagram or Facebook.
It was Instagram.
And it was about, in short, how awesome you have been as a man, as a father in her life. And so I want to say thank you to you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of the fathers who have chosen, because it's a choice, to be present, to be capable, to be caring, to be strong, to be fathers.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Thank you for that, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'll put it to you like this. The issue that Reggie brought up as he was about to hang up actually poses
Yeah,
another
that's a
question
good
that we
one.
have for you as well.
Right.
He almost brought up the if you had a set of characteristics that makes a good stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
We're not going to say mom or dad,
Yeah.
but it requires a heck of a lot of patience.
Right.
It requires a lot of time. It requires the ability to just let everything else go and focus only on the child. I actually think even in our house, I'm actually more suited to that than actually Marla is, and I'm
Oh,
sure
for
she would agree.
Except you've left me in this role. So
and
thanks for abandoning me on the street after I fell off the bike, and thanks for abandoning me in parenthood.
Dave, can you just apologize for not picking her up? When
well, she
fell?
knows that's what a marriage license actually is. It's a blanket male apology. I thought you
I'm
knew.
just not even going to co-sign that.
It's a blanket man apology.
When you turn the cameras off,
We're
I'll
Aaron and
got it.
Dave. We're good men. Cat, pound, pound.
But what I'm saying is, Reggie was basically saying that description kind of fits the almost the opposite of the expected
Right.
roles in his family. That he's actually more suited to raise children than he felt that his wife was.
Yeah.
Where do you and Aaron actually fit in on
so,
that?
So to Reggie, I thought that it was really smart, evolved for them
Yeah.
to make that decision based on
together.
And
those
even
things,
to have
right?
that discussion, that
Right.
was a deeper part of the
Huge.
discussion.
Right,
I wouldn't even-
who's the best person for this
Right.
job is awesome, and to Aaron, I almost wish that Aaron could call in. You know, I wish she was on the phone because we're both suited to her. She certainly is a fantastic mom. I did a terrible job on Mother's Day, by the way. I apologize, Aaron. You're a fantastic mom, and happy Mother's Day.
Awesome.
But she's very good as a mom, and she's very capable. She certainly could be a stay-at-home mom if that's what we decide to do. But the other reason I wish she'd call in is I really wish she could call in and address the question about how she's perceived by the other women around her.
Anybody who's in our audience, 323-524-2599.
Yeah.
If you're the person who's got the job that takes you out of the house
Right.
and you cannot be full-time with the children, what are the perceptions about you, and what are the things that are being said, and what happens to that woman? Because for me, again, regardless of, once I was asked by David to continue to grow our family, and I was very reluctant. That's something I did not want to do at all at that time, because I recognized where I was in life, and I was so young. Mm-hmm. At 20 years old, I'm like, okay, and I'm already a parent to one child that I had in another relationship, and I'm getting the difficulty was real. Right. Like, I understood it without a shadow of a doubt. So for me, I even said to David, once I say yes to this, it's a wrap. Like, in other words, I'm now going to be a full-time mom, period. Like, this is it, because I was still trying to go back to school. So you kind of get that. To me, it threw us into traditional roles. For me, it was a default. Like, it's okay. Everything went to support his career, which what it is. So I didn't have the understanding, or even I never bickered with, why can't you be home? Well, when you're in a music group and you travel, that's the home. That's not what you do. Right. It's part of your job description to never be here. Correct. But somebody has to be. So every time for me, I thought I was going to get up and running to do something, the weight of what I was needed to do at home was always far greater. Mm-hmm. Literally. Like, I was doing stand-up comedy, and then they were talking to me about a little small tour that they wanted me to consider. And literally the next day, I think Moniece and DJ had robbed the neighbor, taken the jewelry out the neighbor's house and buried it.
Oh, for real, robbed the neighbor.
I'm not even kidding.
Moniece and DJ, they were like neighborhood heist.
Yeah, it was like, right. So the point was, I looked at David and I said, one of the two of us, it can't be a caregiver. It has to be one of the two of us. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I hear what you're saying. Say no more. It's clearly me. So I had to stop doing comedy because I needed to be home. I could no longer let the live-in even be the one. Yep. She wasn't a parent. Right. So I'm just saying that I get it, that's what it has to take. Yep. And so for me, ironically, in the reverse, I look at women who choose to keep going and do what they have to do and use the support of the father, and I cheer them on. Okay,
let me interrupt you right there, Marla. Please, we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on with Marla and Dave and Aaron, and you just hung up in my face. That must have been, was it Jerome? Anyway, so Jerome. You were saying, the reason why I thought that point was really good as well, because I know younger mothers who actually have a guilt issue that they deal with, even from older mothers who are looking at younger mothers and say, you already don't know what you're doing. Right. So that
hold that thought. Caller on the Marla and Dave show with Marla and Dave and Aaron. What's your name and where you calling from? If you call and you choose to be anonymous, you don't have to ever give us your name. But I just, I'm so friendly. I'm going to ask you anyway. Okay, you can just skip it.
Anyway, so I'm saying that I know that level of I don't want to say competition, but almost a need to already be good at parenting, because like Marley, like you said earlier, people expect mothers to actually know what they're doing from just right out the bat.
Now, I will say I've seen myself get judgmental about parenting now, right? Like, I've seen.
What are some of your judgments?
I know of a mom who really loves to go out. Like, really, really loves to, like, she's seemingly not that comfortable in the role of motherhood, right? Like, she misses her freedom. And so she's constantly trying to employ her friends or other people to come and watch the child so that she can go out and do her thing, and she with her husband, right? Like, so that they can go out and be social and whatnot. And I can see myself, I have been very judgmental about that person.
Hold on. Caller, you're on with Marla and Dave and Aaron. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Aaron, and I'm calling from the hills.
Hey, Aaron, what's up?
We got Aaron from the hills, much
and
like
it
Jenny
like
from
I
the
heard
block.
Jackson in the back.
What's up, little mom?
Yes, Jackson is eating right now.
I love it. I love it.
All right, we're going to let Aaron ask you the question that he was hoping that you would call.
Oh, no, I heard it.
Okay.
I heard it.
Okay. What's your response?
Well, my response is, I feel the guilt for not being home. Like, it's, it's heartbreaking every day when I leave her all snuggled in and sleeping on his chest and leave a bottle warm and, get in my car to drive to the lot. It's, it's sad for me, and I'm very, very grateful that he's able to be there, and I know she's well cared for, but it's hard, like that mother guilt, to not be the one staying home is really difficult. But in terms of my friends, they're supportive of it. Like, no one has guilted me or shamed me or any of that. I haven't dealt with that. But I would,
Considering the fact she
very
probably
much
punched him in
like
the
us to
eye.
switch
Yeah.
places. But the entrepreneurial spirit doesn't bring health benefits. So
Right, there you go.
off I go.
I get that, which is important when you have a new baby. So
Right.
the question that I
Right.
have for you, Aaron, is, given the fact that you feel that guilt, does that give you a better understanding? Because Aaron was saying that Jackson is his number one priority. Does that give you a different? Yes, and Jackson approves.
Hilarious. She said,
that list of priorities being that short.
Yes, she thinks this is hilarious. I know, baby.
So does that give you a different level of understanding of what fathers in the 9-to-5 role have to do and tear themselves away when they have to go to work every day?
Yes, but from the perspective, so I work where I work, I'm one of the only women. And so when I came back to work, I was there, and, there's a bunch of men with kids. And my first day was really traumatic for me, like really traumatic. And, I was hiding for most of it because I didn't want to I didn't want to embarrass them by breaking out into tears. But from their perspective, they're like, oh, you just work. So I don't know if the bond in the first 4 months is the same for a dad as it is for a mom.
That is a very good point.
Because we approach life different. We women as women, and you guys as men, even we used to, when the four of us got together before you had Jackson, we would, exchange stories and whatever. And even the process of you saw baby's needs, meet need, me, Dave, help baby meet need. So it was, you became a person who wanted me to nurse, and you were ridiculous. In other words, you didn't, that you were driven to different things that were very functional in the scenario. We're different, men and women, in that way. So what Aaron is saying, I totally agree with.
Well, plus, so Aaron went back to work at 4 months. But for 4 months, she had been connected mouth to nipple. And she's constantly hugging this child for 4 months. And then suddenly that wasn't true. Suddenly that wasn't possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, you know what? I say kudos to all parents who actually put the child first. That's number one. That goes without saying. Being a good parent, especially these day and age, to actually put someone and something before yourself is just awesome. But I will say a special shout out to mothers who actually can take all those, like we said, maternal instincts and set them aside for the benefit of their family. And we appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you so much.
And Aaron, if you decide to sell some cream on the market, I can put you on the dark web.
Moo Cow makes. I told you we went to the doctor. Doctor said not milk, cream, and she makes loads of it.
So there you go.
We have an extra freezer full of it.
Well, I was going to ask.
I don't think the radio audience wants to hear all
They
that.
might.
No, Aaron, all I'm trying to tell you is when people are lined up when they see
Gold
you.
rush.
Because now they'll follow your pages when they see you and they line up and they're like trying like a street
and
vendor.
you'll be getting orders. please tomorrow, please eat strawberries and some pineapple.
Right. Wait, when people see the health of this child, and they're like,
no.
so what is she eating? All breast milk.
Exactly.
Really? Yeah. $500.
Well,
for 8 ounces.
we won't keep him out too long, Aaron. Thank you so much for calling.
You and Jackson.
Kudos
Hey,
for being
girl.
such a great mom.
All right, thank you guys. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, her point is well taken. I mean, it's because I think that there's also a conditioning that happens. So when you say that men in 4 months in, or there's a conditioning that goes on there.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right. I think it's absolutely without a shadow of a doubt.
We are talking with our stay-at-home dad friend, Aaron, a friend of the Mad Family Show, and we are going to get back to the conversation as we take a break.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are Marla and Dave to explain how it works.
I haven't talked about genitals one time.
All right, you guys. Okay, that has nothing to do with the. I guess it does have to do with the Mad Love game. We're going to pass the dice over to Aaron, and he's going to roll. But you guys know that the Mad Love game is a game created by Marla and me. It consists of the 3 categories that we think impact most relationships: finance, communication, and sex. It's played by rolling a single die that has those categories on it, and it also has a loser turn or the Mad logo that allows you to choose sex every time if you want to. Aaron, do the honors, please.
What'd I get?
Oh man, now he's a stay-at-home dad. It doesn't automatically land on sex anymore. That's another question.
Oh, that's not just married?
Oh. So when she comes at night, do you say, "Oh, honey, I'm too tired"?
I have a headache.
That is hilarious. All right, so he landed on communication. Here's a good one. Each question, actually the questions and the answers come from the PW, the Pew Research Center. The question for this card is: are women turned off by men who cry?
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I would say yes.
What would you say, Aaron?
Man, like, I would say probably, yeah. It probably depends on the woman, but probably, yeah.
I would say it depends on what he's crying about. I mean, if he's
Right, if
lost
it's
a
somebody
close family
died
member,
or-
yeah.
or
But I mean,
even
if
not
it's
even that
just like,
harsh.
"Oh, honey, I was mad,"
Or he went through an emotional trauma.
the women,
Right.
the other moms
Where
at
are my
the
tools?
park today said, "I didn't know what I was doing." All right, the answer is actually yes. Women don't generally appreciate a crying man, but they understand if man tears come up every now and then. So each question has a further discussion point, which is fun when you play with your friends. The further discussion question for this card is: under what circumstance is a man's crying unacceptable?
Anytime a man best not ever cry because he's frustrated, number one, about anything. A man can't have a frustration that drives him to tears.
Really?
Hell to the mother effing no.
That's what?
Like, I can't get this. Like, you're trying to
I can't
fix
open
something.
the ketchup? Yeah, okay, don't cry.
Or I can't fit these jeans anymore. Yeah,
But
you better not cry for that.
How about I've been working for 25 years trying to, like, do this thing so that I can
And he lost his
better
job.
my
Oh.
family, and it's just not working.
I can get that. That wouldn't bother me. That would be okay with that.
Okay, that's a frustration that's
Well,
okay.
yeah, that's
What's
a
the type
life-
of
that's a-
frustration
that's
what
a-
you're talking
that's
about?
That's a life, like, that's a career, that's a life altering.
So can't be frustrated with something trivial and
no,
cry.
just that's and that's not. Wouldn't even consider that a frustration. I would consider that emotional devastation
Okay.
more than just being frustrated. Like,
Okay.
frustrated is flustered at something.
All right, we have time for one more. Why don't we roll it one more time, please, Aaron?
We're not getting sex again. Uh-oh.
Sex.
Okay, he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Aaron, he's coming home, baby.
He's
His headache
back.
is gone.
All right, here we go. All right. Do men have a G-spot? That's
Apparently
a good
they
one.
do, actually.
Well, if I cut this fingernail, I'll show you.
Yeah, oh,
Listen.
well, good luck trying to get that to happen because you don't cut your fingernails. Sorry.
So if I cut my
But
fingernail, I'm gonna get to go in there and figure that out.
But what are you talking about?
Your
So
prostate.
We,
Let me
we,
get.
we haven't even
let me in your
established.
ass, Dave.
The question is,
Let me in
do
your ass.
men have a G-spot?
Yes.
The answer is yes, but most men will not be willing to let someone
Explore it.
explore it because it's basically the prostate. So prostate.
Well, then,
Tony said,
well,
start
then,
cutting your nails.
And of course, yes, the answer is yes. It is located near the prostate gland. Is it in the prostate gland?
What you get
Is
to
the
it by
prostate
going
gland,
up
but-
is right
Okay.
behind your taint.
So the further discussion question for this card is: are men willing to allow their partner to stimulate their G-spot?
And I don't know why, because you want to be up in my.
Yes.
It's
Do you, Dave?
Do
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to be up?
in everything.
Well, Dave is an absolute freak.
You want
so
to massage Marla's prostate?
He wants to.
Yes.
He wants it.
short answer is yes.
Got it.
But I don't even understand that. Why do you want to be in
So
the
then
back
why do you?
door?
So then why do you?
Because you have an actual treasure pot in there. That you don't even.
Let
hasn't
me eat
even-
some chili.
you
I'll
haven't
get it
even
ready
emptied
for
it.
you.
She wants to do it for you, Dave.
I
I'm
think
sure
you
she
might like
does.
it.
No, Marla's actually a little more perverse than Dave. Dave is a little freaky, but Marla's perverse.
I just want to.
That
Come
sounds
here,
like
boy.
a perspective thing.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, and you guys don't want to know.
That sounds like perspective.
Anyway, thanks for playing the Mad Love game. We love it when Aaron comes by. We play the Mad Love game. We kind of get in trouble, but hey, what fun is it if you're not getting in trouble?
Why is it me?
You can get your own copy, your own version of the Mad Love game. Not your own version, but your own copy by going to marlandave.com. Buy the game. It's fun, especially for Father's Day. Ooh, it's a good gift. Anyway, we'll be back to the show. Back.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
Right before we get back to the show, we always do the poll break. The poll question last week was, technically we're still supposed to be in the NBA final, the championship for the NBA, but
Clearly, we're not supposed to be doing anything because
Golden
they
State
swept.
had to just whip out their broom and perform a sweep on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the question was, who walks away with the 2018 NBA championship trophy?
And 82%
You guys
of
have
you were
answered.
correct.
18%. Clearly, those who live in Cleveland said the Cavs. Wow. But those of you who said the Warriors, you were obviously correct, and that was 82%. Marla, what's the question for next week?
Is being a stay-at-home dad a default role for a man who is with a woman who earns more money?
Your options are yes, no, or it doesn't
or
really matter.
Okay.
And with that, we're going back to our conversation.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
There's no way we can let Aaron get out of here without telling us as well what the most challenging.
Yeah.
So you thought everybody goes, oh, I'm gonna be a parent, and it's gonna be like this, and it's gonna be like that, and I'm hoping, and they have a whole thing in your mind. Everybody does. What has become the most challenging truths to you about daily parenting?
Man, I want to give you an answer that's really, really good, but honestly, it's not difficult. Hardest thing that I have experienced in parenting is I'm a problem solver, and there are moments when Jackson gets upset. They're rare, but there are moments she gets upset, and they're seemingly
Nothing. She's just gonna be mad.
She's just gonna be mad. Like, and it could be that she's tired. If she's tired, it's the worst one because she's gonna try to not go to sleep, and it makes it worse. And so it's frustrating because I want to solve her every problem.
So now, how long did it take you as a parent, because I know this is a learning curve for parenting, how long did it take you to start to distinguish the different types of cry? In other words, a lot of moms will say, oh, just give me the baby. Or a dad would think she's hungry when she's not actually hungry. The moms always, at least the ones that I knew, always seemed to know exactly what each cry meant.
I don't know that I know. I have a strong intuition about it. Like, usually if she's hungry, and she's always hungry, I have an intuition. Like, I'll pretty much know. And Dad, it took too long to get that bottle ready, right? Or if she's sleepy, she does a thing when she's sleeping. She mews a little bit, you know what I mean?
No, what's a mew?
Just kind of, yeah.
Right.
Just making sound.
Right, and it will evolve into a cry, but usually it's the sign. If you catch the stuff in the lead up, right?
Yeah.
Then you know where you're going. She never cries when she's wet.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
She's totally cool being in a dirty diaper. Totally. She's like
good. So she's meant to be on the road.
Yeah.
She's ready to go.
Is it you wear diapers on the road?
Exactly, always. It's the only way to fly.
Awesome.
Anyway, speaking of diapers, though, here's a personal question. Yeah. I remember when before she was born, you had the cloth diaper laid out. Yeah. How has that worked out?
Man, I hate that you asked that question.
How has that worked out?
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, he had every cloth
Tony,
diaper apparatus that there ever has been
Aaron,
created.
You were right. So we spent lots and lots of money on cloth diapers. And
I know.
We still have this full array of cloth diapers, and we use them.
A ship horn? Can we get anything to
we
mark
do
his?
use them, but we use the disposables a lot more.
Mm.
And I'm not terribly happy about it.
Huh.
I'm not happy primarily because even with some of the better ones, you can smell them. You know what I mean? They smell
Smell
like
what?
chemicals.
They smell bad? Are you saying they smell bad?
No, the disposable ones.
Disposable ones.
Smell,
Yeah.
They smell like chemicals.
They
Like
do.
plastic.
They're
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
And for my mind, that doesn't smell like safe. That doesn't sound like it doesn't smell like the most caring option. Right?
You know, the
But
safest option
hold it.
is just
let
let her
pee
just
in your
pee in
hands.
your hand. Just put a cup,
Yeah.
follow her around, and just catch it.
Listen, we've caught it a couple times. Ding, ding, check.
Hilarious.
But the cloth diapers they're actually really awesome. I suggest them for anybody. You just know that they're not as convenient as disposables. You know, I mean, we will probably, I can imagine, transition into more use with the cloth diapers as she gets older because it's more regular.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And with the disposables, we in the early stages had to go through a lot of them. We would have not had any cloth diapers in the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also, by the way, I wanted to say this as well. Sherilyn Harrison says, my husband did it, and I appreciate him forever.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that, you know, I'm glad in talking to Aaron and having Reggie call and having this open conversation, I really pray that, in all honesty, that more families, couples move towards not taking the gender assignment out of the job and doing what's best, because parents are parents. And the one thing that David and I, he said it earlier, and I'll say it again, you know, kudos to those people who get a chance to plan, but those people who don't plan, it's still the same formula. And at the base of all great parents are parents who are willing to be selfless.
Yep.
And in selflessness, my ego's gone. It's not about me, you know, having a vagina or him having a penis, or any of those decisions are trite and ridiculous. It's really about putting yourself aside and saying, A, I'm going to dedicate myself to be present and learn this child. And B, I'm going to decide that everything that in my life has to accommodate them before it accommodates me.
Let me say this too. Being the stay-at-home parent, guys, if your wives, if you have children and you have a wife, girlfriend, or whatever, somebody who's taking care of those children on a regular basis, help them. Help them, because it's a big job, and I get it. Like, you can revel in your freedom, so you can go play golf, or you can go do whatever it is that you used to do before the child. Do less of it and help these mothers a lot more, because it's a big job. They deserve your help. They want your help. They will appreciate your help. I get a lot of it. We get a lot of My mom helps. You know what I mean? Aaron obviously helps a great deal. I mean, she's there. We co-parent. So, but guys, help these moms.
And ladies, let them help.
Yep.
That's true too.
Let them help,
That's true,
because
too.
we get stuck in, it has to be us. I got it, because we're women. And I didn't fall into that trap at all. I literally walked away. When David came home, I was like, oh, there's your baby at the door. Where you going? Barbershop? Okay. He's going too. He's like, wait, what? I'm like, you'll be fine. I had to learn.
Aaron is so present. Like, literally, when she tags me out, she's like, bye. Like, and I can go. Like, I'll go to the bar. I'll go, you know, listen to some music. I hang out with my people, like whatever it is. And I get back.
That's a good question. So is it easier for you to then, at first I was a little bit uncomfortable because I had no idea what I was doing. Do you find but she was there for the first 4 months anyway.
She was there for the first 4 months, right.
So it's almost a little easier.
Yeah, but I, you know, like all of these things, like reflections on how I get to do this, really helped me understand, like, I've seen women be super frustrated with the men in their lives because they're busy, or they're gone, or they never get a break, right?
Yeah.
Dudes, watch those children. Let them go to whatever they want to do. Let them go to the club. Like, let them go to the bar. Let them do whatever it is they want to do or need to do.
Girls' night out.
Because, man, like, there's so much work.
And it's intense, and it's all
intense,
the time.
Right. So let them get it out. Let them air it out. Be better for you.
If there's one takeaway that I really appreciate about this type of situation, is that because it's a little bit more unorthodox, more communication has to go into that decision for the family.
Yep.
And so Marla and I always promote communication as well. So that is a great thing. And happy Father's Day to you,
Thank
bro.
you, man, and to you.
All the fathers who are stay-at-home dads, happy Fathers to you. Father's Day to you. And even if you're not, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Indeed.
Right? Right? Seriously.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And thanks for being a part of the show again, man. Thank you so much.
for
And you're
having
doing
me
a
on.
great job.
Anytime.
Thanks, guys.
You know what? Thanks. And if you see me on the street, please pick me up. If I'm from
Dave, can you just apologize for not picking her up?
I keep saying it. It just
next
goes.
time, just pick her up.
No, you know what I said earlier
I'm gonna
that
go.
you
It's
can't
okay.
feed the bears in
I'm
the park.
I'm gonna
If
go.
I apologize, it gets worse. Trust me.
I heard what David said, and I'm gonna join my friends. Rocky's birthday, and crew, and I'm gonna air it out in Cabo, Dave. That's what I'm gonna do for a whole week. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Man, who
okay.
is this singing?
Yes.
Who is this?
Oh yeah,
who is
that's
this
right.
great
What is
song?
that? What? That's amazing.
You met these guys?
Yeah, no, they say they're great, but
Wow.
who knows?
Wow.
Anyway, thank you guys. This has been the Marla and Dave Show. We will see you next week.
Marla, Dave, and Aaron Bullock signing out in the
Indeed.
Madhouse with
Deuces.
Tony Sweet. Bye.